Okay, hi everybody. It's Neil Weichel with RE/MAX. We're coming into the time of year where a lot of people are thinking about selling their homes, right? The spring selling season is coming. And as you're preparing for that and thinking about what your goals and objectives are, it's important to talk about where the market is right now and to give you three very, very important tips that are going to help you. And I say this because last year, for the third year in a row, we had a record number, hundreds of homes that came on the market and did not sell. Now, I can tell you as a real estate professional, there is nothing worse than taking a listing, working very hard to get it sold, and having it not sell. So I'm going to give you three things to make sure you get an A+ on as you grade your home. And if you do that, you'll probably have a great experience. So the first thing is why did so many homes not sell last year? The number one reason is pricing. They were priced too high. Now that may not sound like rocket science, but it's very important to understand that markets are always changing. I'm going to put a home up on the screen that illustrates an example of us failing to sell a home, okay? And it was painful. This is a home up in Skyline. Skyline is a new construction area where there's a lot of competition from builders offering incentives. So if you put your home on the market in a newer area, you got to make absolutely sure you know what the builder you may be competing against is doing. This is a property that my people tried to put at a price, $1.2 million, where they would basically break even based on what they paid for it. And though we tried very hard and they tried very hard, we didn't get it. The home came off the market, they thought about renting it, and ultimately decided, unfortunately, to hire an agent to sell it as a short sale, and ended up selling for less than what was owed on the property. That doesn't happen very much, but it does happen sometimes in newer areas. Now, conversely, right around the corner from this home was a home that was listed with another agent at the beginning of the year in Skyline for almost $1.5 million. Gorgeous home, lots of upgrades, a lot of money put into it. I knew, and most of the agents that work that area knew, that the market wasn't anywhere close to that, primarily because of competition. So when it failed to sell, they called me, interviewed me, and ultimately decided to hire me, and had a positive experience selling, unfortunately, for almost $200,000 less than they were originally told the home would sell. But they were happy to sell it because they were able to move on and buy the next home that was important to them. What's the point? The point is your agent has to know what's happening with price. All agents want to get you the highest price if they really care about you and their experience. It's in their best interest, it's in your best interest to get the best price. But if the price isn't going to happen, they have to be able to tell you the truth about that. And in some neighborhoods, that's particularly tough to do. The next thing to address then is the condition. Condition is, of course, related to price. And what some sellers do, and very successfully, is they'll have us in long before they put the home on the market and get the home ready for the market, right? They get it ready so that it shows its best. Now, some sellers don't want to do that. They don't want to do anything to the home, and that's okay, but it has to be reflected in the price. And so what a lot of sellers do, and we're seeing it more and more in Santa Clarita especially, is they'll do some staging to the property. Not even a lot sometimes, just some very basic things, but it can make a difference. I'm going to put another home up on the screen for you. This is a home in Tesoro, Valencia. It was listed with another agent. Last year it did not sell. And they called me and said, Neil, what do we need to do? We're moving out of the area to make sure our home sells this time. Now, the home was overpriced for the market. This is another area where new construction factors in, and the agent has to understand that when it comes to the market analysis. But also, it needed some light staging. Nothing crazy. It was less than a few $1,000s. We staged it, we did all new photography, of course, and we marketed it aggressively, and they are very happy to have opened escrow this week. So there, it was price, but even more, it was making sure the home showed its best. There was some small objections to the home that we overcame by staging it last. And just as important as the first two very often, we see a lot of people list their home with agents that are not local here to the Santa Clarita Valley. And there's nothing wrong with that if they sell a lot of homes here in the Santa Clarita Valley. So when it comes to marketing, make sure that the agent that you're talking to and perhaps hiring really knows your neighborhood, really knows your competition. Obviously, that'll factor into price and condition, but it will also factor in to making sure it's marketed in the best possible way. We see agents put the wrong wrong area code down for the home, the wrong city for the home, and most importantly, they very often price it incorrectly. I'm going to put up on the screen for you the 5 Points community here in Valencia. This is a new community, and it's a community in which there is a lot for sale. In fact, there are 8 times as many homes for sale as there are in escrow. And in the resale world, it's usually less than 10%, meaning 90% of the sales are brand new. If you don't know what the builders are offering as incentives, if you don't know how those homes compare, obviously they're model homes when the buyers walk in, then you will very often misprice the home. Now, this week I got a call from an agent from out of this area, and they're a good agent, but they don't know this area. And they thought that they could take a listing and price it well over $1 million because the online valuation said that. I shared with them what my property on Bush Mallow is in escrow for. And as soon as I did, they said, oh my goodness, we can't ask $1.1 million. Well, no, you can't. You have a model match that is priced almost $200,000 below that. What's the point? The point is if the agent you're talking to knows the homes that are on the market, knows what's in escrow, hopefully they're networking with the other top agents in town and asking them, hey, what's happening with your listing? What kind of offers have you got? What kind of traffic have you got? When you do that before you put a home on the market, you're going to have a great opening weekend, you're going to have a great initial reaction to it, and most of the time you're going to sell in the first 30 days. Thank you.